Hello. This is Jurgita with Stitches and Coffee with Jurgita. And this month's coffee is going to be Lavazza. I got them as a whole beans and I grind them right before I put in my coffee maker and make my nice black coffee. So, traditionally, we're going to start this month of July with Spoiled Child. Had to put the coffee away because I don't want to accidentally spill it, because especially since my fur ball is always right next to me there and he likes to be as close as possible to me, so I don't want to trip and get my coffee all over my stitching. So Spoiled Child, today is what, the 3rd of July, so tomorrow is gonna be big 4th of July in the America's Independence celebration, but the fireworks already started here several days ago. From what at least I hear, we came back late last night from a trip. So my July month starting few days later in the stitching world at least. And yeah, Spoiled Child, what can I say? I still love this piece. I love how it turned out, and my plan at least for this year is to do 2 rows, so 1 row half a year, another row half a year. And as you can see, it's already started. My July is supposed to start from beginning, but I already went ahead, so I'm very happy. This way I know I don't have to rush towards the end of the year if I wanted to, or I can then roll this frame over and start further up, and it's time to stitch. I think next year is going to be way more stitching than 2 rows, because I want to get this as close to the finish line as possible and sooner. And this is what it looks like right now, and again, it's going to be by 500 stitches down, 5 blocks, and going as much as possible. I think my minimum is like 3700 or something to do, so we'll see how I can do it. It's a full stitches on this fabric, which is 18 count Aida, 2/1. The size is 450 by 514, so 1 row is about 22,500 stitches. And what I'm gonna do in this area now is gonna continue, like this is like a part of the chair. You can see there is like some glass or something sitting on something, and gonna be still darker colors until I reach to the boy, and we'll see how much I can do in here. And yep, so there's nothing else to say except let's start stitching, and I'll see you with a bit more progress shown. And I managed to actually work on this piece for 6 days. So this is what you're supposed to see as a ending part, and look at what I've made. So pretty much started from here, and that's what you see in the empty spots. I've done it like in the sections, and to prepare for one of the games where I need to stitch like 7,000 in 7 days at least. To become like a warrior, I had to leave parts where it's like 1 or 2 colors, biggest amounts left. So that's what you see is going to be darkest parts in here. And in the boy, I finished the boy's a whole face and the neck. You see all the skin is done, and with the amounts of stitches in here, like within a 2,000, you see how little it's left, and that's going to be the 2 colors only in here, I believe. So, and again, we're having dark spot like you can see in the picture here. So those are dark spots in here, like a shading, and then again like some cloth or something in here that's not gonna have a lot of those 2 colors to stitch. But overall I did in those 6 days just over 5,000 stitches. So like I said, it got me so hooked, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I already reached my half point of the row. But it's July, not June, so if I could do like a 2 months for the half row, that would be great. But I'm not jumping so much forward. I really like how It all turned out like the boy's look, just so pitying look as that. As you can see in the picture, it's slightly different, but when you look at his face, it's like a mommy or whatever lady it is, please can I feed him, or like I'm not doing anything, what are you talking about? Anyway, so this is what it's looking right now, and it's over 51% done. So hopefully next month I'll be able to fill this in, because this is kind of bugging me with all those unfinished parts. But like I said, I'm prepping for a game which I think I'm hoping to do like a next month. So next month I'll have this all filled in, and it will look much different. So this is what the whole picture so far is looking, and I'm very, very happy to see how it's turning out to be. It's just like a real picture. And like I said, usually I give like up to 5 days for this whip, but I did 6 days. One of the days I stitched just a tiny bit, and I probably wouldn't be able to stitch much today. I'm battling migraines, so I'm gonna leave this, and I decided to pick something a little bit easier to stitch as one of my other monthly projects. Can you guess? And it's Brooks Books Stitcher's Alphabet. So since each month I'm doing one letter as a minimum, start and finish. So the next letter, of course, is going to be U. U is for unfinished object. So it's going to be full coverage stitching, and there's going to be some like back stitching writing to do. So that's gonna take much longer than, for example, T or S. And just in a full stitching, I think it's over 1100 stitches counting pattern keeper. So it will be at least a few days, I would imagine. Not one, especially with the migraine. I'll do just a tiny bit here, tiny bit there. But U is for unfinished object, and that's where I'm starting. And let's see how it's gonna look all done. And it's about 1.5 days, and my letter U is all done. So as you can see, I had beads in put in, and there's some back stitching in here done, and a little bit of crying for the spaceship, and back stitching over there. So that's all done, and it was about 1176 that I counted. That is with all the back stitching and a couple of French knots on the letter J and I's. So this one is done, and it's gonna be waiting until August. So since I still have a few hours today, I'll be able to stitch something else. And let's see what I've picked next. And next is something that I haven't touched since last September. So it's been what, about 10 months since I worked on this. It's Raindrops on lashes, and I'm stitching that in a half stitch, but slightly different. I'm doing the stitches like my top would be on the X. So it's it takes a bit to get my head straight, so I wouldn't be just doing this way but that way. And this is what the top first row looks like right now. And as you can see, I already like around this area am, so it's past the half point, and there's gonna be more of this kind of thing happening, kind of mix versus what I had like a raindrops this way. So that's where I'm gonna start. I'm not marking fabric since this is pre-printed like that, and so I'm trying all kinds of different ways on the different projects, different ways, different types of stitching. Like I said, the stitches laying differently because of the rain. I thought that would look better. So this is where I'm starting. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this. I just want to do touch up. It's not my main project, but I want to move this a bit further in. So without further ado, I'm gonna start on that one. And since I didn't get a chance to stitch much in the past 2 days, this is all I've got, just over 1100 stitches, but that's that many stitches less that it's left to do. So you see, That's the area I chose to work in, and just mainly was finishing off the threads that were hanging in here that were parked. So you can kind of see continuing the hood here, and kind of extending a little bit more. So that just went in there, and then at the end I kind of left the parking. I didn't want to extend way too much, and that's where I'm gonna leave it this time. I actually decided to try out a new this is water soluble pens to mark where some biggest stitching markers should be, and we'll see if it washes off later on. I try not to go right next to it or mark anywhere else, so in case if that doesn't wash out after a while, then I won't have any problem folding it over and hiding under the frame. So anyway, this is where my raindrops stop, and I don't know when I'll pick it again next time, hopefully within a few months, maximum hopefully 3, because like I said, this is not my top priority right now from a full coverages, but I'll see when I do it. Maybe I'll do a little bit more than 1,000 at least to fill in this area and continue on. So next I'm gonna have this one, and I'm sure you guys can recognize it. It's Mirabilia, dressmaker's daughter. So as you can see, all other 3 parts, you could say 100% done, except a couple treasures that I think summer needs to be added up on top that I still need to buy. And the only one left is a winter, and winter dress gonna continue going down more as a stitching, and then of course there's gonna be beads and writing and back stitching done. So my pattern shows that I have about 2,200 stitches left in overall in here, so I'm gonna work until it's done, and that should be my July finish if I can get those treasures for this piece. So this is where I'm starting, and I guess I'll come back to you when it's all done, hopefully. And here we are, 17, 20 cross stitch counted, and it's all done. Guys, I'm all finished. So as you can see, there was way more beading to be done versus like all other 3 parts, where it had more of a stand and some of the beads, but here was a bead galore, and the winter was on the top of the dress also. So again, I had to omit some of the beads going along, especially when it's several in a row. So instead of like a 5, I would put like a 3, in some cases just a 1 bead instead of 2, because of the height of the bead. It fit in perfectly in that size. So I had to omit quite few of them, but I think this way it does not look bad either. I did not want to lay it weirdly, so just went in there, and I'm all ready to take it off my harmonic frame and see how the whole thing looks like. I could say it's fully done, but I'm missing several beads for, I believe, the summer dress, so I need to unravel to see if that was correct, if I remember correctly. But other than that, it's all done, guys. So it took me about, I believe, a year. I would have to look when I started it first, but the winter is done, and yeah, so excited. It's kind of weird to say that it's finished, that I won't be able to work on this anymore, except those few beads which I still need to find and put on. So let me take it off my frame, and we'll see the whole picture. And I pulled it out in the sun, and what I'm doing right now is using this seam ripper to take it off. Like you see, I had like a double line made in here, sewed onto this fabric, which was attached to a harmonic frame. So that's what it looks like in the sun. just hid behind the clouds. So that's the full look of the piece. Let me move this out of the way so it's I can't show you a sparkle because the sun is hiding behind the clouds. but they're very sparkly, especially those high luster cryonics. And that's what it looks like. It's amazing. I love it. And yes, it is missing a couple of like big beads in here, or treasures. So that's the only thing. There is a sun. So that's the only thing that's missing to do, and that will have to wait. I'll attach it later on when I receive those beads. But that's a whole thing, and I couldn't be happier. I looked it up, and I started that on April 20th, 2022. And today is July 13th, 23. So you see my shading here. All right. So that's what I'm gonna do. Just take it off the rest of this and set it aside and wait for those beads to arrive to fully finish it. Well, since there's a few hours still left in tonight, I did not want to start anything bigger or continue anything bigger. So I decided to grab, since it's also July, like Christmas in July, to continue work on another piece that's Christmassy. So this is No Humbugs Allowed by Sisters and Best Friends. So it's 1998 Christmas ornament collection from a magazine, and I had it started and already worked on that throughout this month. I probably did not show you anything for when I used it on my trip, but I have about 270 stitches already done before today. A little bit on appointments I've taken in the waiting room, and I'm doing that over one, actually, with one thread, a full stitch, and let's see how much I have it done. Woo, that's so close. So you can see is taking a shape of his outfit, a raising arm here. So there's gonna be, I think, a whisper thread or something around here, around his beard and a hat. So we're just gonna continue stitching in here today, and we'll see. I have something bigger ready already for tomorrow to continue for a few days, but so far I'm just gonna be working on this this little guy. You can see let's see, just a tiny bit higher than that red part, and a little bit, so maybe like this tall is gonna be. And I had a scrap piece of paper, so I mean scrap piece of fabric that I did not throw out, so I was able to use it. And like I said, I'm just doing with one thread in here, full cross, and I'm gonna continue working tonight, and we'll see how much I can do it, and we'll see then tomorrow how it's looking. And so last night I did quite a bit. As you can see, the Santa's outfit is practically done. Even the white color here is done, part of the hat, and even the tree, looks like a checkered tree, is halfway done. And the boots were in the black, so there's not much left, probably one good evening like that, and it will be all done. I would have to pull out the whisper threads for the beard and a part of the hat to do it. I'm not sure if I want to stitch the words No Humbugs Allowed. I might just do like this and make it like an ornament. So I'm gonna set this piece aside. By the way, just finished doing my nails at home. I got ultra violet light at UV light, and the gel. So I'm trying to grow a little bit of my nails by myself, and then I'll go towards maybe end of the year more to the professionals. But anyway, this is done, and what I've decided to take is my Lilith. This is what I have. It's a very small portion, but I've just started on the left top corner like I always do. I've used again 25 count Luca S like a canvas, and I worked only once during my birthday for a few days. That was in December. So I'll remind you again, this is what she's gonna look like. And the Heaven and Earth Designs has it, but I asked my friend to do some adjustments, and especially because of the skin, I did not fully liked how the changes were done in Hate, although a lot of Hate patterns are amazing and I have quite a few of them, but I wanted to change. I mean, just her look is just so captivating. So anyway, this is where I started working in the very corner here, and that's what you see right there. So I don't know where I'm gonna go continue next. I might not go so spread wide and just finish off the threads. I might just go in the smaller areas and finish off. I haven't decided yet. As you see, I haven't marked fabric. I was just going by the guides of the yellow markings. So I don't know how I'm gonna continue, but I know I'm gonna be working in this area, so I want to work for hopefully a couple of days, even though it's half day already past today and it's a weekend. And I just started to editing to upload my first part of June video, so hopefully that will come out much sooner than you see this part. And I want to at least to put some stitches in this piece, so let's start. And 2 days and about 2,000 half stitches done. So you see, let's see, where is the picture itself. So this is the area I've concentrated just a little bit past the blue point. I started a little bit in the blue, but I was filling in all the empty spots that needed in here, and as you can see, all details you can already start seeing. And when you pull back a little bit, so all the horn parts, shading, everything is done. Let's see, there you go. So that part is where I'm already started a bit and decided to stop. So I might actually next time go again, because I started filling in like an area out of 800 actually stitches, like after 4x5 that was left to fill in here. I had about 37 singles, and then the biggest amounts, two symbols had was like 50 stitches and 90 stitches out of 800. So it was like singles galore. In some parts it was hard to actually poke the needle through because I was finishing off also and starting thread without flipping over the frame. So I might reconsider and start doing the parking if it's gonna be continuing like that. It's the back is very dense, front is also too, so I might not leave it like that, although I love how it looks. But to cut off and threads and then try to put a needle through the same area several times, it's becoming a hard thing to do, even though the needles are very sharp. I still use this pokey needle to poke when I had to finish off thread, poke through the about half of the thread to secure it. But like I said, I might start doing more parking. So very happy that I actually managed to do those 2,000 stitches. And as you can see, later on is going to be darkness and those kind of like a feathers on the skull continuing to the right, and the flowers to go on the bottom. The threads, how I sorted out, I'll show you too. So after different ways of putting my threads, I've decided to do like that. You can see I have two of these, was that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it's about a 50 fits in this. So all those are single colors, and the other ones are single, little bit single colors too. But I've decided to just pre-cut, have all pre-cut threads hanging in here. And then when I need to do like blends, because I have a lot of blends, you see all the blends, I just pull out all the single threads that I need from here and mix it together, and then what's left I'm just sticking my needles with those numbers. And that's how I know, instead of used to be I would have two mixed colors already hanging in there and then pulling one of each. But sometimes those thread colors are just so similar to each other maybe more than this, so sometimes it's hard to tell which is which. So I think this is a bit easier way for me to recognize. So I just pull out of the general kind of thing, and when I'm short and here I have my overall storage, where I have all pre-cut by 1 meter, and pull that out of that and hang it in here. So I have for this project 2 big ones and 2 short ones like that, which is about each 30, and other one is not full. But as you can see, pretty much everything I was already using it. Empty spots where I did not use the blends yet, or the solids. So I've used quite a few of the colors in here, but still it's exciting. And I don't know when I'm gonna pull this out again later. Like I said, it was taking me very long time to do just the one area in here to fill in all those parts, and then I just did a smaller area and went by it. So, but I'm just excited to grab this again. I miss her so much, and she's been calling me for quite a while, so I'm very happy to have brought this out for some more stitching. And like you see, it's not gonna be very huge, so I don't know how much, like up to here I think the edge. So this is the total width on a 25 count. So I'm gonna set this aside and figure out what I want to do next. We had past few days pretty strong storms with the rain and lightning and thunder, and the neighborhood had several trees and branches falling down. When I went for a run with dog, it was sad to see those beauties fallen. So I have a few pictures that I've taken from the neighborhood. Hopefully it's not going to be as bad, although it's still very humid, and the rain tries to always threaten us. A little bit here, a little bit there. Even yesterday we got rained on just when we were turning back that half a mile to go back home with dogs. So came back a bit wet, right, puppy? So okay, let me put this aside and figure out what I want to work on next. Well, I spent quite a bit of time doing some organization and try and figure out what I want to also do for a few far future stitching, or figuring out which project future whip would have how many stitches and stuff like that, plus dinner. So it's already after 8 p.m. And then originally I was planning to stitch something different Asian, but somehow this couple kind of drew me my eye, and I figured, even though I stitched back in February, I think, this one, it's time to do it again. And it's by Lanarte Culture Series. You can see grouping, Asian couple, and it's about 262 by 246, I believe, and pretty much is a full coverage except like a spots in here, and there are some few spots that are not stitched because it has a fabric. So let's see where I'm gonna start this month. So as you can see, the fabric is dyed, printed like on one side only, other side has just like that, much lighter, nothing on that. And it's stitched with 1 threads and 2 threads, and there's, I believe, also blends. So what you see in front of you is the girl's kind of outline already, the hair, and you see in here that it's gonna be like empty spots left, and like a background kind of blends in into the fabric. So since my manic frame got freed from what you call it, the girl dresses from Mirabilia, believe at least, or from some other, now I think from addresses. So I decided to put this on automatic frame because my previous frame that it was on was kind of a bit flimsy, old one, and I decided to move this over here, and it was perfect in the size with just a little bit left. And so I think I'm just gonna concentrate on like a girl's hairdo and things like that, or maybe a little bit fill in the background because I can't go much further. I think it's close to the midline in here. So the usual, my threads holders are, I'm keeping my threads in original holders. They were just hanging like that, so I was afraid that they're gonna get lost and falling out of those lines. I did not want to do the tying on the bottom, so I just did braids. So there's like a 3 cards. Third one is not a full, but that's where I'm keeping, and extra threads I was kind of just hanging in here. So yeah, and we'll see how much I can do. Hopefully I'll put in some more stitching and tomorrow especially, so we'll see how far I can do. I love how that the guy's face is not seen, so you can kind of imagine what it would look like. But the outfits were gonna be very ornate. What you can see in here, you see very ornate, at least around the neck for both of them, and she's gonna have some nice flower in the hair piece. So it's not going to be as fast going as, let's say, the background was, but I still want to see how it's going to look. So let's start. So after the rain, the crows are back and driving our dog nuts. They constantly go around closer to the house. But guys, can you see this green line? It's like a giant foot, like a couple toes in there. Is anyone able to tell me what exactly is going on? We have aeration system, which is when water goes into those big tanks next to the house, goes through the chemical cleanup, and then through those pipes further out pushes out. But this is the first time we've seen something like this. It's very weird. We have our lawn treated for weeds and to make it grow, but we can't figure out what exactly is going on here. It's like a giant just fell and made the outline of the imprint. Very, very weird. So if you know, let me know in the comments below. Ta-da! I could say in 2 days this whole thing that I've done. And actually first day it was about maybe what 150 stitches, so total I made 2103, and just started with the hair and kept going and then started putting in more color, because before it was all kind of bland colors and rusty earthy colors, and now I've decided that I wanted to put in some of those blues and to see how it's gonna look, in the gold ones, because in the outfit there's gonna be more of that. And there was quite a bit of color changes in here, and there's going to be those beads that were included in the kit where it's all of those in white color, so that's going to be sparkling too. So I'm so happy to see her hair progress so well. And yeah, yesterday I stayed up till very late to continue stitching because it sucked me in so much. I lost track of time, so I went late into the night with the stitching, but I'm very happy. This portion right now looks so weird, like empty. It's like, what else is supposed to be? Her hair could finish in there, but her hairdo is style and the decoration is gonna continue in there, and we're gonna see more of different colors in there. So I'm gonna set aside my Asian couple, and I've decided what I can play with today, so let me pull it out for you. And it's gonna be this piece. It's Wedding Confections by Meridian Designs. And like I said, I wanted to have it all done before April's wedding for my kid. So this is what I have right now. This is the biggest piece, the bottom portion, bottom biscornu, and as you can see, I've done quite a bit in here, and I know I stretched out a little bit more this way versus that way, but I hope it's not gonna make big difference. But you can compare what is left to do. There's also gonna be some beads involved around the perimeter, and at least I think that's it, or maybe a little bit in here. I'm not sure. I'll have to check it out again, my pattern, but I'm gonna continue working that. And this piece of fabric is supposed to fit all three parts, so we'll see, maybe a small one in here and the middle part in there. I can't remember. I calculated to fit all three parts. So this is what I'm going to be working on at least for one day, although I don't know how much time I'm going to have, but I'll work towards finishing at least one of the pieces. There's some silk, a couple silk threads involved that came with, I got from a designer with the pattern together, and I marked it like this, so you can kind of see where the silk threads are. They're so nice and shiny and silky feeling. So I'm just gonna continue keeping on this thing, and the white B5200 was as a skein separately, so that's what I'm working on. And let's see how well it's gonna look when hopefully this part is all done. And it's already past dinner time on what, the 20th, so I worked actually practically 2 days, although I did not touch that yesterday. I mean today. I've been doing some editing and prepping for the new whip. So what you see is the first part is all done, except when it needs to go in and put together. I'll have to use one of the bigger like a pony beads to attach here to tie it on up. And as you see, I already started. This would be the middle parts, I believe, the top. So this is also a top, and then it's gonna have a bottom, and then there's gonna be another piece, a smaller one, both the top and bottom. So the biggest part I'm done. The bottom one should have for the biggest biscornu should have a little bit less stitching to do, but as you can see, I've already did quite a bit in here, and consider that sizing. So it's gonna be also here like a petite birds stitched in here, so that's gonna take a little bit more time, but I've decided that this is a good start, and I wanted to set this aside to start something new. And that would be the winner of one of the videos when I asked you guys for voting between 6 projects that I wanted to start, big ones, and between English and Lithuanian comments together, this project won. It's a Silk Queen by Astra. The size will be pretty big, 500 by 762, and that would be my second biggest whip that I'm doing. The biggest would be 406,000 Girl Ghost, and this will have just a little bit less, and that would be 381,000 stitches. Let's see, I just finished putting all the pure color threads on my thread sorter or needle sorter, and it has 55 pure colors, and the rest of it like this, and all the way here is going to be 182 blends. So in total is 137 symbols that's gonna go in this project. And I chose a 24 count white Congress fabric because it has a big holes and a bit easier to see. And since the I guess I could have went already with the 22 count, and that means if I start stitching and I see that it's getting way too hard to do, I might switch actually. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm gonna start on 24 count because I wanted to downsize a bit the project. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm very excited to start it. It was one of my dreams to work on her, and I wanted to do that during the Dragon Boat Festival, which was last month, but unseen circumstances prevented me of doing that. So I'm gonna start now while it's still summertime, while all those colors are still like a blooming in the nature right now. And I know it's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of single stitches in here, and it's going to be a lot of changing, as you can see in the whole pattern. But I'm still excited to start, and little by little I'm gonna be working on that. And so you guys wish me luck, and we'll see how much I can do. And like I said, it's not my one of the main projects, so it's gonna come out just occasionally, time after time, until it's time to put more work into that. So let's start. So here is what 3 days of work actually got me. Yes, this was a confetti work in here, although it's kind of hard to see, but you see changing colors in between and the blends and all that stuff. Of course, the edge of a tree here was not as crazy as this flower area. So after I've done this selection, I had a little bit more time yesterday, which was the third day, and then all those parking threads that I had in here, I worked approximately in this area, and then either cut off and put the needle away, or finished off the thread and did not start new one. So you can see what colors are awaiting me in the next one. But when you look from further away, it all of those even dark ones start to blend in, and that's how it's gonna be. So I'm very happy. I got 3052 halves here done, and I'm sure there's gonna be a lot more confetti coming up, but I think spending 3 days at a time is gonna be good for me right now. And my Silk Queen started, kicked off, first steps put in. So I'm gonna set this aside, and today I did not have a lot of time to do anything. We were doing like stuff outside, trying to cut a wood for a smoker, like a cherry wood, and what was it, even denser wood, some kind of nut wood. But yeah, we used like a table miter saw, and it actually got our blades twisted into like what's next to the blade protection. So we had a hard time to getting that straightened out, and after that it started getting more trouble to us, and we had to stop. But at least we put some dent from bigger logs. We cut, my husband and me cut up in the smaller pieces, all ready to go for our next smoking adventure, smoky meat adventure, I should say. And part of that is gonna be with the fish too, but it's getting late, and after dinner now I'm ready to pull something else out. And that's gonna be from my magazine piece by Sisters and Best Friends, No Humbugs Allowed. And if you remember from previous videos, I've said that I'm not sure if I'm gonna be stitching the words themselves, because I'm probably gonna do that as an ornament. And this is what we have up to this point. I've worked on this piece earlier this month, and I thought might as well to work for a few hours tonight to fill in here. And let's see, I might start with the, oh, there's a little bit tree hiding. Might start working on the tree and filling in the rest of it and finishing off. And then we'll be done left to do on the back stitching and the whisper thread. So that's what I'm gonna work, and I'm hoping to put a little dent in this. I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish it tonight. It's too exhausting. It was way too hot outside, so we're all poofed out. And yeah, so this is where I'm gonna be starting, and I'm hoping that the difference between two tones of greens is gonna be stronger than what I see in the picture. I'm really hoping. Of course, the picture was taken and then off the magazine and then printed out, so you already can see here it's a stronger differences than in the outfit here. So I'm hoping it's same is gonna be on a stitch piece. And I actually had to go into the next days until like a lunchtime when I was able to stitch, and my piece is done. So instead of those little ornaments that I could have bought, I just decided to use some kind of beads that are different colored ones, and like themselves. They're like multicolored, and I decided to put those beads in there instead of big ornaments. And of course, lots of time took to do the back stitching here, those lines, strings, I should say. And I even put very veiled initials and a year, so if you look up close you can see a little bit more. But I finished it. So this is what comparing with original. You see all those ornaments, and originally the pattern was suggested 25 count, so it's the same size pattern, so you can see what it looks like printed on a picture at what original. My colors are a little bit lighter, so maybe it's just a paper or a magazine, but I also did not write down the words in here, so I think this would look good as some kind of ornament in itself. So that's the only changes I've done, is the beads in here. The beard was done with a half stitch only in here, so it can be fluffed up a tiny bit more, but not much. The little white ball on the top of his head is not that well seen, like this, and that's a bone fabric, bone color fabric, 25 count Lugana. And maybe you can see the beads, and there are two tiny French knots that are wrapped around the needle only once, so it would not be very big for the eye, so it's like a green-eyed Santa. So I'm very happy I finished it. It was in total just over 2200 stitches. What I've done, and that includes when you count half stitches as a half, and the same goes for the back stitching. I cut every all the digs into the fabric in half. So this is another ornament finished for this year, and I'm very happy that from this list I have this finished, cat finished, and this Nordic knitting done from my possible winter projects. But I have some more ornaments waiting for me to work on and finished off. So anyway, this is done, and let's see what I've picked next. So next I'd like to work on for a few days is my biggest piece by stitch count, at least, is a Girl Ghost free pattern by Anayake. And what I have so far up to this point is not fully 15%. It would be great, I think, to the end of the year to reach 20%, but that would be a lot considering that 1% is 4060 stitches, and I'm doing that as a half stitch on 25 count. You see it's Lucas canvas kind of fabric, goblin fabric, as you can see. And I'm not marking in any extra way, but what I've done here is the first row I've done. Let's see if you can follow. This is like a reminder. First row is done, is up to here, like fully, and then I decided to go the full height of my frame. So this would mean like I've done about like here where I've just started the string of hair. this corner. So about this much I've done, and then of course the first row. So slowly I'm finishing off the background, and there's going to be more colors then involved to do the hair. There's going to be lots of blends, lots of singles. But so far this is what I'm doing, just taking the colors and finishing off the threads, and then adding, and these are just the ends that once I've stitched in more, I'll cut this off just to make sure that it does not get loose from behind. So this is where I'm starting for a few days, and we'll see what it looks like now. Then, I mean. And the 3 days that I worked on this gave me over 7,000 half stitches. So I'm very happy to say that right now I have 16.8%. And I think if each month to the end of the year I do close to 4,000 half stitches, then I can make it to the 20%. That would be amazing then. So I'm gonna strive for that. And as you can see, I just kept going to the right. I did not start, there's would be more hair, darker colors, and then below again the background, and you can see the hair strings coming this way. So that's where I'm starting, and this is what it looks like right now. So excited. Got this much done actually. It was flying off, although a few nights I stayed a little bit longer than I was usually doing, but that's all right. It will probably gonna be some lighter color again coming in here if you look by the top portion. But this is what it looks like right now, and I'm gonna set this aside. I worked the full 3 days on this, and let's see what I've picked next. Then I thought I probably should do Beloved or Alien and Row in the last few days of the month, so I can be more sure that I would be able to make 7,000 stitches in 7 days in a row for the game, and that would move me towards Spoil a Child in the next month. So I have a few days left, and I've decided to continue working on the wedding confections, and it's a 3 size biscornus, and you see how shiny those beads are. So the top bottom tier top portion is done. I've worked before on the middle portion top also, so I'm gonna continue that, and then start the next piece. I hope it's not gonna take long to do this, although you can't see in the picture, but there's going to be over 1 stitching small birds in there, so that would take a little bit of time. But I'm hoping to finish quickly this and start the next part. I don't know which one I'm gonna do, but it's I have out of 6 only 1 fully done, so I have more ways to go, and somehow I just want to continue on this pretty piece. I love how those beads sparkle in the light in here. You can kind of see, I hope. So yeah, so that's where I'm gonna start today, and for probably next few days, that's what I'm gonna be working on. And today is the 3rd day that I'm gonna be working on it. I haven't touched it yet, so this is what I've done in 2 days. So as you can see, the medium size top is done, and these are itty bitty doves that I was talking about. They're very hard to see, but you can kind of see when I move the lamp, how the shade gets, so it's like a flying doves. And I also finished the bottom portion of the middle of biscornu, so that's what it is. And by my calculations, if I was calculating correctly, the top portion was 1,064 stitches, and that includes some of those beads, and of course the back stitching that I had to do around. And the bottom portion of it was 566 stitches, so that of course didn't have any beading because it would be laying on something. And I even decided to start the bottom portion of the biggest biscornu, And the regular stitching is not going to be a lot. I couldn't finish it all the way to the bottom because I'm gonna need to move my frame fabric, but there's going to be part of the flower here, and it will depend what you write in the middle. It's supposed to be like a names and a dates in here, but just overall decoration I wanted to do the first. So this is what it's looking like right now, and I need to cut these strings and move my frame over so I can start working more on this corner, and it will be the smallest one, both parts left after this to do. But I don't think I'll get to that point, but at least I want to move the fabric over on my frame. So let's see what it I can do it for today. And I finished the what's it, bottom of the bottom very bottom part, and I did not write anything yet, and later I'm thinking I'm gonna figure out how I want to write it, and maybe change the letter style in there. I haven't decided, but I finished it fairly quickly. Today is Sunday, already 30th, and yesterday I did not stitch anything. I was helping out from early morning friend to do a yard sale. I brought a couple of my own items, and it was like a Hades temperatures outside. I got actually burned on my hands, even though I was putting plenty of sunscreen lotion, but I guess from washing hands I forgot. I mean, look at this, it's only second day, and even knuckles, so I got quite a bit burn in there. And then when I was leaving, such a strong storms that came by that like a tornado sirens, which sometimes they scream for severe thunderstorm warning, started going on, and I made it in a home just at the very beginning of that, even though like a cones and road barrier areas were flying around, and the tree branches were flying around on the road. So I made it in time, but it seems like the car's tire might have been punctured a little bit somewhere, so it's leaking air. So we have to check that out now sometime this week, I guess. And my husband can't use his own car now to go to work. So that was adventures. I've been putting my bigger works also on these homemade frames that were bigger ones, since I have made several frames like this fabric. I attached it. I managed to figure out how to use a staple in such a way that it goes in well enough and not sideways, because it's a round frame. And I've been sewing the fabric itself onto this thingy. So I'm gonna set this aside, and since it's kind of late, like a 9 p.m. already on a Sunday evening, I've decided I might as well put in a couple of stitches in my beloved. If you remember, I was telling you that I'm prepping for stitching 7K in 7 days game. So it means I have only like 6 days to stitch possibly, because I'm hosting my canasta ladies group on next Saturday, which is going to be already in October. But in another games I have to stitch at least, I think, 1000 stitches. It's a liquidation kind of game, and I have to work on this one because it's one of those pieces that I work for that game. So I have to do by tomorrow at least 1000 stitches, turn a picture in, and then I'm gonna start probably from Monday working, filling in this area. So right now I'm gonna be probably working over here again from the smaller towards the bigger amount, and when a game that 7K challenge kicks in, I'm gonna be filling in. So let's see where I'm gonna get in those few days. And here we are, 2 days of hard working. I got this much. So you see it all filled in all the way like this point, and I started to filling in a little bit of that last night. I worked yesterday on my 7-day 7K challenge in one of the games. I had to get the special code, like always for the games, to make sure for them that I did not cheat and that did not save and post some pictures. So very happy how it goes. I'm gonna try to continue next maybe a couple more days into August to continue stitching on that, and we'll finish off hopefully the game with the different piece. But this is where I'm ending my July piece, and hope it's looking good. I actually, in one place here, I had to it was about 100, I think, stitches. I had to take it out because I think I accidentally grabbed perhaps a slightly like a more gray color versus 365, and it looks slightly different to the different lights. So I just took that out and restitched it with the same color, and otherwise it would have looked very weird. So her face is partially done, and this is what I'm gonna be ending month of July. Usually I try to end it with my ghost girl, but since I started this game, I needed to change my tactics. So in overall, July was second best stitched in this year. I think March was possibly the first with the majority of the stitches total done. So that's strange and exciting that I was able, even with all those strips, I was able to do all that. And in total, I worked on 13 total whips. Two of them were new, which was the Silk Queen and the Stitches alphabet letter. I had no humbugs allowed, ornament finished, the letter finished from alphabet. You could say that the dressmaker's daughter is finished, except those six treasures that need to be put in. And then 4 out of 6 parts of wedding confections are finished, except the wording on one of them. So I think I did well in July, more than I expected. So that's great, and I worked on quite few big full coverage projects just like this. So I think I'm gonna end on that note my July vlog, you could say. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying with me through this journey of July's stitching. Thank you for all your comments, likes, and subscribes. I don't say that often enough, that I love to read it, but I'm still behind all of the comments. So please be patient with that, and I hope that all of you are well, that you have time for your favorite hobbies, be it stitching or knitting or anything else. And I hope to see you again soon in August video. And leave a comment below which of these pieces you like the most, or perhaps you also stitched, and what do you think of that. And I guess I'll talk to you next time. Until then, this was Jurgita saying bye bye.